Well, I'm not much of a liar, but I did lie about returning to you on Sunday to grace you with my presence. Girl, I mean, we have eclipse season is about to start, you know what I mean? So if you are a deeply feeling person, you're probably feeling it right now. I'm also about to get my period, as you can tell. Look at this. It hurts. Oh my God. And it's in like an awkward place. Like I can't really put like a sticker on it. So I keep poking at it. I could never watch like a Dr. Pimple Popper video, but like love love to examine my own bumps and whatever. But anyways, this is actually I wanted to make a video about this at some point, so maybe this will be the video I talk about this in. But how I was shown like trusting the process is kind of like through like my own journey with like my skin. So like as you can tell, I mean, aside from our good sponsor and friend here. My goodness. Aside from them, I have pretty good skin right now. But a few months ago, literally, like my skin was on 1 million bajillion. Like all around here, I had like probably like 6 or 7 zits at any given time just because like my hormones were going crazy because I have a cyst on my ovary. But so that when I was working through that, that took me back to when I was like 13 years old and I was like on Accutane and I just like felt terrible because I had tried so many different things for my skin and it just felt like I don't know, I had poked at it so much that like I had a bunch of scars and I felt terrible about myself because I had to like wake up and like go to school every day and be around people and like felt like everyone was always looking at my skin and I wasn't really confident in my body and like I don't know. I don't know. I just like I felt so miserable and like ugly and unattractive, you know? And like some of those feelings were like arising when I was going through it, but like this time instead of like, worrying and being like, "Oh my God, my skin has to heal so that like I don't have to stress about like other people looking at me all the time," it was like I was expecting like rapid results. Like this time I just kind of like trusted the process and like I took care of my skin and I like moved intuitively and like I didn't go back on Accutane or anything, but I was just like, okay, what products am I using on my face? Like how can I be more intentional? Like what of this is in my control and what isn't? And I just trusted that process and now I'm feeling great again. Um and even same, like, I've had like issue. When I was really young, yeah, like I used to be like bulimic, like I would make myself sick. And that's just because like I never like food, I was hyper aware of the fact that like everyone around me was perceiving my body and like that made me really anxious and stressed because it was like even if I was just like chubby, like not obese, you know what I mean? I was still like bigger than all the kids around me because they were like really skinny, like size zero, whatever. And so like for most of my life, it was really hard for me to like talk about food with people because I was like, oh my God, if I say anything about food, this person is going to be perceiving me like as fat and thinking like negative, embarrassing things, and that's going to make me feel shame. You know what I mean? And it was just like, I don't know, it was very awkward for me. And so like I didn't think I would ever get to a place when I would be like able to talk about things like that or like where I would be like comfortable eating in front of a man. But now I'm just like, I don't care. Like I don't care. I'm a human. I'm a human being and like I have been through so many things and like I can sit here and I can tell you about all of them and I don't feel shame about them. That's a really big thing because if you feel shame about them, like that's what keeps you stuck because then like you're just like, oh my God, like I could have done this better. It's like I'm on some know better, do better type shit. I think they say that in Insecure. I've been wanting to rewatch that show lately. Um, so yeah, that's all you can do is know better and do better and again, trust the process and let the process unfold for you. Like this is like what's been like shown to me energetically, but my favorite YouTuber right now is a woman named Amanda Ellis, and she whenever she posts a new video and I watch it, I'm just like, "Oh my God, like Mother is confirming like what I am feeling." And that's how I always know that like I'm on track, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, okay, like I'm being shown these things, but she's helping me like piece together the puzzle. So it is kind of like I'm like a new version of us is coming out. Like the way she described it is kind of like you're on like a sports team and like someone is being taken off the field and like someone's coming off the bench, but like both of those people are you. It's just like an old version of like the old Earth version of you and like the new Earth version of you, right? So it's kind of like you're doing a trade-off. And she said there's going to be kind of like so she says like Archangel Metatron is like her guide or whatever. And I think I've like maybe channeled him like a little bit or whatever. But she said that the way that he was like explaining it is like, he's trying to like he's above, like he has that higher perspective, right? And he's trying to like make that trade-off like happen gracefully. But like the human in us is just kind of like makes it difficult. Like he has to chase after us. So imagine that, it's like when you're not trusting the process, like angels are chasing after you, trying to reel you in, trying to like get you to obey the divine's will, but you just want to fucking run around. So, yeah, like the best thing any of us can do for anyone is like, it's not like saying sorry. Like apologies, like it's changed behavior. You know what I mean? So like if you know you can be better, then do better. It's really as simple as that, you know? And like that's kind of what I've had to start telling people that like I manage. Like if they're being too soft with themselves, like I can see that. So then I'm just like, okay, like we need to put a little bit of like structure into your life and I need to like hold you accountable. So this deck of tarot cards we have here is, hang on, one that I actually like never use. I just randomly bought it like one day like a year ago. And it has like a woman on it and like on some of the cards. Let me find her. She's on most of them actually. And she looks so much like Jillian Michaels from The Biggest Loser to me. Like whenever I use this deck, I'm just like, that's all I can think about. And when it happened, like I literally remember asking myself, I'm like, what does this mean? Like, what the fuck? And now I get it because I'm having to be the Jillian Michaels in A New Earth. Like, I'm having to, like, that's really what she was doing, like, on The Biggest Loser. Like, yeah, I mean, obviously she was kind of known for, like, being a hard ass, but, like, sometimes you have to give people that tough love and, like, remind them of their power if they want to forget it. Like, I have this post that I did on Tumblr and it's from, like, Wayne's World, I think. And he's, like, thumbs upping and he's like, things aren't as bad as they seem, you know? And I, like, put that out there because I'm like, it's like, that's a reminder to people. Like, they're not as bad as they seem. You have the power to change your perception. Like that. And it lifts right off your shoulders. Like you give it to God, right? But then so it's, a lot of people will reblog that and like, they're on the same train. But then there's like the occasional person that's like, you're right. They're worse. And so what I've started doing is when people do that, I like reblog it from them and I'll like put their tags back and I'll be like, this guy's part of the problem. And like it was just there was like people doing it like back to back to back, and I was like, whoa, I'm like the collective is very much in its Five of Wands right now. And the Five of Wands is just like people like a group of people like throwing sticks at each other, like in conflict, arguing. And like actually if you look it up on there's a website that I use all the time. It's called like Biddy Tarot, and they just kind of have like little drawings of like the cards and like explanations of what they mean. But a meaning of the Five of Wands can be like diversity. And what is happening right now, if not conflict over diversity, because everyone there has to be those sectors, those otherings, right? And it's like people just don't want to come together and be like a collective of humans. They want to say, okay, in this room of humans, how many are just like me? And then I want to pull all those people towards me. And I don't have the time for anyone who isn't like me. It's weird. Um, Jillian Michaels doesn't approve, and Haesop Rocky doesn't either, and neither does Marilyn or God or Jesus. Really, no one. The only people that are approving of that behavior are like the ones that are benefiting from it, the ones that want to like hold on to that like cult like mindset. Whereas people like me, like I'm like, I want to hear as many perspectives as possible. I want to know like different people's truth and then I want to figure out my truth. But it's like the only way we can do that is if we're willing to like sit with people and listen to them, And that's why I actually love YouTube as a medium. Like I'm so glad I've like cut out like all the other social media I was doing pretty much except for Tumblr and like I just really post on here, right? Because I'm trying to bring that back of like being able to sit down and listen to a person really talk for be it 5 minutes, be it 15 minutes, be it a fucking hour. Amanda posts like hour-long videos and I love everything she says. I think it's so insightful and actually like listening to her, it inspires me because I'm like, you know what? If I want to talk for an hour straight, I'm going to sit here and do it. And like whoever wants to listen will consciously choose to sit here and listen with me and like they're supposed to hear these messages, right? And other people who don't want to listen to that, like the archangels could be pulling you towards me, but you just don't want to tap in. You want to hear what you want to hear. Selective hearing. Anyway, so we have some cards that came out here. We have the Eight of Cups and the Seven of Cups. So I think like Eight of Cups is like typically these cards are kind of boring except for the Jillian Michaels ones, but Eight of Cups is usually like suffering. You know what I mean? But Seven of Cups is choices. So the way to free yourself from suffering is to know you have choices. You have the choice to, even if you don't want to be like happy-go-lucky, at least choose to be neutral. And even if bad things are happening, if you choose the neutral, you can say, okay, but who knows what could happen next? Like remain open to the possibility that miracles are coming your way. But if you see one bad thing and then your brain automatically takes you to the place, oh, that means there's another bad thing and another bad thing because this always happens and this is my life and I'm just a fuck up. That will be your life. That will be your life. But you can consciously choose and you can know that anything is possible if you believe. At the bottom of the deck is strength. There's a bug on here. Last year in spring, I was going for a lot of walks and I saw more ants than I've ever seen in my life. And I got kind of curious about ants, so I started Googling them, and I learned that they've been on planet Earth as long as the dinosaurs. How did I just choke on that word? Um, and also there are a lot of ants. If you ever want to feel really not alone, just Google how many ants there are. The Page of Pentacles. So this is like slow and steady new beginning. So like as you're kind of like finding your footing in this like in a new earth, like take it slow. Literally like don't if you get really easily triggered, like don't feel the need to like go out and overwhelm yourself with news that triggers you, right? But just kind of like be like, okay, these are the realities of the world that I'm living in. How can I accept those and continue to move forward and keep building my life and keep holding that vision for myself, regardless of the circumstances? Because I was actually talking to my boss about this morning. Like, I was like, I was like, I can't believe like how disempowered the collective is right now. Like, I'm like, do people like, so are they going to spend the next 4 years like scapegoating the government as an excuse to not do the work? Like, the time will pass anyways. Things are going to shift and change no matter who is in government. So, like, are you just gonna sit there and like rot? Or are you gonna make use of these 4 years in your personal life, regardless of the external circumstances? That is the real test of your character and your strength, is how you choose to respond in the face of adversity. Like, can you keep pushing your rock up your hill, or are you gonna get distracted by the fucking circus? Even like I was at the mall working all afternoon, and I live in Canada. I live in buttfuck nowhere, Canada, and there was old people talking about like Elon Musk and like all this stuff, and just like getting in like an argument over like, is he a good person or not? And it's like, who cares? Who cares? Really? Okay, Nine of Cups, right? That is like you just focusing on all the things in your life. So even if the news is bad, what's going on for you? What are the headlines in your life? How exciting are they? Focus on those and more of them will grow. But if you focus on the bad headlines, then like you're just going to see more of that. Like, do you guys remember during COVID, there was like two groups of people. I remember this very distinctly. Okay, I was probably like 20 when COVID hit. But anyways, there was like the people that like tapped into like their childlike joy and like uncovering their sacred hearts, okay, just being tapped into that like that spiritual essence of like, oh my God, I don't have to do and do and do. I can just be, right? Like it's just like playing and like having fun, making whipped coffee, doing all kinds of shit, right? And then there were those, my mom was really bad for this. Every day she would go on the news and be like, oh my God, this many people have died. This many people have died this like and it was just I literally had to say to her one day, I was like, can we not talk about this? Can we focus on something a bit more positive? Because I'm like, this is just like, I don't know, this is not good for my mental health. It's like, but then also at the time I wrote for a different publication than like the one I manage now. And it's like in all of our articles, they're like, don't mention COVID. Like we don't, and it's kind of like I was watching like the Sex and the City reboot, like, and just like that the other day. And right on the first episode of that, it's like they just made it so very obvious that they're like, oh, like we just came out of COVID, and they're like making all these jokes about like being 6 feet apart and whatever. And I'm like, it's kind of like you have to be in that middle of like you have to be aware of what's going on without being so immersed in it that like it becomes your whole entire life. Like your whole narrative is just like being worried about the news. Like, do you want that to be your life? You have a lot more potential than that. And yeah, all these cups here, that's because we have eclipse season. It's like it's bringing out emotions, like all those feelings that. Why is someone from Vancouver calling me? I'm curious. Maybe. No, I don't want to answer it. See, this one thing about me, I don't answer the phone. Unless you're my future husband, I don't answer the phone. That wouldn't be him either, because he's not in Vancouver. That's what he calls it. Okay. Um, The Knight of Pentacles. So yeah, so then once you have like that firm footing, like the more you, sorry, I dropped all these cards. Um, Once you have that firm footing, because like the page is like the youngest card or whatever that you can be, right? But once you find that footing and you kind of like feel a little bit more secure in like I don't know, just like what your vision for the future is. Like what's the next chapter of your life going to be? Then it's like you graduate from the page to the knight, and then after the knight you become the queen, which is like, very independent and sovereign and like knowing you're okay on your own, regardless of what's around you, which is pretty much like the era I'm in right now. And my King of Pentacles is out there somewhere stacking bread and building us a castle. So I trust I planted that seed and I will see the harvest. And that's all you can do. That is Napoleon Hill taught me. Okay. Think and Grow Rich is a really good book if you want to um figure out, look at that, the sun. I always go back to a West Side Gun song that like I heard for the first time when I first moved to Vancouver. And it's more like an he's just like talking or whatever, but he says, you better act like the sun don't do nothing but one thing, shine. And he says so much more than that. I've talked about this in other videos before, but I literally posted it on Tumblr today. Like I'm acting like the sun. I'm being the change I wish to see in the world. Like I'm just shining. I'm shining regardless of like I know that my confidence will trigger people who are insecure about themselves. And that is not my responsibility. It's not my job to shrink myself to make you feel comfortable. It's my job to show up as my highest self to inspire you to rise up if you feel called to. And if you feel called to rot in the soft body of your flesh, I don't know who is calling you to do that, but you should hang up and you should start taking calls from God. Okay. This is the Eight of Wands, which forward movement? Yeah. Yeah. Once you shine, like, because then you're just focused on your path and justice. Then the universe can give you what you deserve, because the universe, I've said this before, we have a kind God. We don't have a nice God. So he gives people, I mean, I work with him, but he gives people what they need, not what they want. So I also give people what they need, not necessarily what they want. And, not everyone likes that, but it's like you have to basically teach people, like, okay, like, if you want to have a relationship with me, like, this is what's required. And, like, what's required is that I can trust you to manage yourself. Like, be that, um, who is this? Sorry. Yeah, like, can I trust you to manage your own emotions? Like, if I'm your boss, can I trust you to do your work on time? Can I trust you to show up? Can I trust you to, like, anticipate what I'm gonna need, Like, and like, if you're my partner, can I trust you to, like, not hurt me? If we're friends, can I trust you to be there for me? Like, can I trust that you'll be able to, like, receive what I'm offering you? So it's okay to feel what you need to feel. So I made like a miniature yap on Tumblr kind of talking about this. So like it's like it is suffering as part of the human experience, right? Like if you are sad, feel sad. But then if it's been like 4 days and you're like stuck in this Eeyore ass rain cloud, then you kind of have to take accountability and be like, okay, like why do I still feel this way? Like how can I lift myself up out of this? Otherwise, you're just gonna spiral. And before you know it, 4 days will turn into 4 months, will turn into 4 years. And then we have a new president, and things are still shifting and things are still changing. The world is still turning, but you've let yourself go. You gave up on yourself. Don't give up on yourself. Because why would you expect anyone else to stick around if you're going to give up on yourself? Like, if you don't have you, I can't help you. So I have to trust that you have you. And if you have you, then I can help you. I can give you all the keys. But you guys, I'm almost 3 years sober. I've been celibate for like 17 months now. I I have done the work. And I have me. I could never, I just don't see a world where I would abandon myself again. Manifesting is my superpower. So as long as you know that you have you and you have a vision for the future, you know how you want to feel. That's the most important thing. It's less about knowing what you want and more about knowing how you want to feel and then creating that. I am protected by source. So yeah, like when you're living on purpose and following your intuitive guidance and doing what makes you feel good, what what brings joy to you, what brings your light out into the world, then yeah, you are protected by source. And even when you're not doing those things, you are protected because literally, like if I find myself like straying from my path, like sure, maybe God might let me go and like dilly-dally and do whatever, but then he'll always show me and he'll be like, okay, this is an opportunity for you to choose better. Like I'm showing you, like, do you want to keep doing this or do you want to do better? And then I have to tell him, do I want to keep doing this or do I want to do better? And in the past, when I've kept doing it, I've just gotten hurt. You know, it's like, because he tries to save you. He tries to save you from the pain, but a lot of the times we just keep choosing the pain and suffering for ourselves. Most of the suffering in my own life I have created for myself. And a lot of it has been karmic. It's been given to me. It's been a gift, you know? And so I carry that with pride, with joy, with like gratefulness, you know, like, okay, I've learned all these lessons. Now, how can I use them to help another from suffering? And the best way you can do that is by encouraging other people to be conscious, to be present in the moment with you, to have an open conversation with you about their feelings and to listen to your feelings. Find some sort of way to connect. I trust in my gifts. So you have to know that you are special and you are worthy of a beautiful life. You are fulfilled by love. Love is the answer. I've been rewatching The Crown. I felt really called to watch that, and I totally see why because like in the first season, it's kind of like how Queen Elizabeth like became queen when she was only like 25 years old because her dad died really young. And it's really interesting too, like she actually like so it was her Queen Elizabeth's dad wasn't supposed to be the king, but then the guy that was supposed to be king, he fell in love with some like American divorcee or whatever, so he abdicated, and then it was Elizabeth's dad was king, and then he died like relatively young just because like didn't have great health, whatever, and then so she became queen really young, whatever. But had he had the first king, I can't remember his name right now, had he not fallen in love, had he not chosen love, you know what I mean? Like the whole entire course of everything would have been totally different. But he that's like the work of the angels, you know what I mean? Like when you feel called, like these two people, they felt called together. Like he was willing to give up being like anointed as the King of England. He was willing to give that up for love. Love is the most powerful force on earth, and it has the power to change everything, right? Because if you think about it, like him choosing that, like that was divinely fated. They ended up together. Okay, they do their own thing over there, and then now there's been this whole line of royals. And then this actually goes back to how I want to talk about Meghan Markle in like my next like Angels Among Us video. Like her and Prince Harry, it's like they had to choose their love over, you know, like the traditions of the royal family. So she also was like a divorcee. She is a biracial woman, like she's American as well. And it's like they chose to like leave the royal family, right? And like just that there's so many layers to this. I think I'm sure there's been videos done on this already, but I would love to do like a whole astrology breakdown of the royal family because I'm so intrigued by all of that. But like if you like I'm a lover girl, right? Okay, so I like in my past, like I can think like, oh, I've had really big crushes on people or whatever, but like the way that I love the person that I feel like I'm going to be with for the rest of my life, that is like that is a knowing. Like that is like it is written on my heart. You know what I mean? Like that is like, oh, like is when you know, you know. So if you can learn to trust your intuition in the littlest ways, then eventually you will be able to trust it in bigger ways and you will be able to like be put on these like divinely guided missions toward like things that are for your highest good. Like in order to get what's coming to me, like my ship is coming in, I feel it coming to me, but in order to get here, I've had to like refine my life and clean up everything. Like I had to completely surrender time and time and time and time and time again. You know, just when I think I've got it, okay, no, surrender, give up, give up, give up, give up. Nothing. I own nothing. Just how can I serve? How can I do better? How can I grow? How can I be present in this moment? What is here? What is here in front of me? What can I learn from this? And just being in that process and being in the moment and just knowing that the more I do the work, the more the river of life is going to flow to me and through me. And all I have is this moment, and so I don't want to change it. And right now I'm choosing to be here with you guys, but in 20 minutes I'm gonna go for a walk and I'm gonna be present in that and I'm gonna like listen to a podcast, you know, I'm gonna keep doing things that feel good for me and I'm gonna trust that me doing that will align me to the other people who are out there doing the work. And I hope to see less suffering. I really would like that. So, um, what did my mom just text me? Oh, she sent me a photo of carnitas. I've been craving carnitas. I think they're gonna buy them for me. Love that. Okay, well, I'm gonna eat tacos too. That's epic. See, manifesting is my superpower. Period. Okay, well, I'm glad that we checked in today. I know in my last video I talked about some, I guess maybe they're controversial topics, but I really spoke my heart in that one, and I see that quite a few people are watching it, but not a lot of people are liking it. And not that that hurts my feelings, but I'm just like, okay, I see where we're at, and maybe you guys aren't ready for what I have to share. But the people who are ready, I'm here. Abundance is a state of mind. It never leaves you. It's always with you. Cultivate it. Okay, you've got this. You are the spell. Cast yourself. I will see you soon, to talk about more things, probably Meghan Markle. Okay, bye.